Am I really that early, Beth? Oh, there we go. More people now.
Welcome everybody to the MLTI 2.0 Device Component Question and Answer session. This session is being recorded and will be posted on our website by the end of the day on Monday, May 10th. My name is Beth Lambert, and I'm the Director of Innovative Teaching and Learning at the Maine Department of Education. I'm joined today by my team, Emma Banks, John Graham, Jordan Dean, and Brandy Coda. Thank you all for the many emails of support and gratitude around the MLTI 2.0 one-to-one device component, where we also extend that gratitude right back to you. This has been a collaborative journey and one that began 2 years ago when the Maine Department of Education launched our Think Tank series, where our team traveled to all of the regions of the state to engage in conversations with stakeholders around the successes and the challenges of the MLTI program, and the hopes and the needs of the future iteration of MLTI. During these sessions, we consistently heard that the device component was a valued and necessary part of the Maine Learning Technology Initiative. We heard requests for more choice, while also others pleaded with us to ensure the state would procure contracts for these devices. We then convened the MLTI Advisory Board in January of 2020, which was made up of membership from 16 educational organizations and represented the diverse needs and stakeholders in the state. The board worked throughout the year to design the recommendation for how to bring MLTI into its next phase, MLTI 2.0. The board tackled with many things, including how to provide more choice of devices while still ensuring equity and high quality learning devices and state negotiated contracts. The result is the MLTI 2.0 one-to-one device component that offers a menu of 6 devices representing the 3 operating systems currently being run in Maine schools. The state will pay a per eligible student and staff allocation toward the purchase of devices on this menu. We committed that the state share would cover 100% of at least one device on the menu. If an eligible unit decided to select a device from the menu that exceeded the state share, they would make up the cost with the local share. The device on the menu would come with 3 years of MDM licenses and 3 years extended warranty, including accidental damage coverage. With the help of an advisory board subcommittee, we drafted the device specifications and the RFP was released. We had 59 device bids. Our RFP evaluation team, made up of the MLTI Department of Education team, content experts from the Maine Office of Information Technology, a representative from the Technology Directors Association, as well as an advisory board member who's also a tech integrator at a rural school district. We all reviewed the proposals and selected the top devices in each of the 6 categories. This RFP team then participated in vendor demonstrations of the devices. We also received the devices to try out ourselves. The devices were tested by our MLTI team, as well as by the State Office of Information Technology, and in our schools by the Technology Director and Tech Integrator on our review team. Once the devices had proven that they could stand the rigor of the needs of our schools today, the vendors were awarded conditional awards, and we released the menus and device allocation to the Maine education field. We're now engaging in the contracting process with the vendors. Once contracts are finalized and executed, eligible units will be able to begin opting into the program and ordering from the menu. The state provided share is $459 per eligible student and staff. This covers 100% of the cost of 3 out of the 6 devices on the menu. With that overview, I will begin the question and answer session. The process for today's session is to please enter your questions in the chat. I will read them out loud and answer them as they come in. We will also place the link to the FAQ in the chat. Please do your best to ensure that your question is not already answered in the FAQ in order to make sure that we can get to new questions during our time together today. I may skip over some questions that I know are in the FAQ in order to make room for the new questions and ensure we can answer them all. So now I will begin with the questions that you can now populate in the chat.
Beth, you're muted.
My first Zoom meeting. Are we able to go to a 128 gig iPad and pay the additional money with district funds? So the answer here, the quick answer is no. State procurement laws are very specific. We have to follow them. It is against the law when you put out an RFP to then award contracts for things that were not bid on. The 128 gig iPad was not bid on and did not receive an award, so we cannot provide funding to that. It would be outside of state law. And that I'm seeing questions coming in around any of the devices on the menu, correct. the vendors chose to bid specific devices. Those we could only award awards to devices that were bid on. We can't then solicit or seek out other devices or upgrades to those devices under state law. So a question came in, have we made any progress on the software allocations, such as filtering, such as GoGuardian? In the first year of MLTI implementation, we are not providing a software allocation. That allocation will come in future years where we can provide the allocation. This year, in order to provide 2 years of allocation, we had to make budget adjustments. Do districts have an option to purchase outright, or would this be a multi-year lease? All of the purchases are outright. So for the 3 devices on the menu that are 100% covered by the state share, they are purchased and you own them right away. If there's a local share, you will be billed by the vendor to pay the additional amount. If your district chooses to negotiate with the vendor to do a multi-year payment plan, that is between you and the vendor, but the state will pay the allocation straight out for the purchase of that device. And you certainly can purchase additional devices at your own local cost off of those contracts. In year 2, an adjacent grade 5 to 6 or 9th and 10th for schools that are K-6, are they eligible to enroll in year 2? Yes. I did not see a 14-inch Chromebook option. Teachers will not use an 11-inch Chromebook. Why is there not a 14-inch option? That was the bid. The winning bid was an 11-inch Chromebook. The 3 devices that have 100% state payment, I will ask that my team who's standing by can put the specific specs in there, but it covers the iPad, the Chromebook 2-in-1, and the Chromebook laptop. And you can find all the details of those devices on our website. Just to verify, we are the purchasing agent, so we can work out financing options with vendors, correct? Yes, the state they're going to bill the state for the $459 per eligible staff and student, and they will bill the eligible unit, you, the district, separately for the share that you are owed. So it will be between the 2 of you to figure that, or the 2 entities to figure out any financing options that they want to provide. Will JAMP support be continued? So JAMP is provided in the device, the iPad and the MacBook that are on the menu, so that will continue. Can you split the order between devices for teachers and, for instance, MacBooks for teachers and iPads for students? So, and I'm not doing a good job. These are on the FAQ, but I'm just going through them. It's too hard to skip over, so I'll just keep going. But absolutely, you can choose which devices and can definitely choose different devices for teachers or students. Is there any white glove option enrollment and asset tagging if a Chromebook is selected? I'll direct you again to our device website that specifies exactly what the bid was and what was awarded and offered in each of the device selections. We already have devices. Can we take what is offered and sell those devices? So the specifics around what you'll be able to do with the devices based on having state funding will be provided shortly. I'm waiting still for that to get through all of the sort of legal areas in state government to get that answer to you. What are the eligible grades, 7th and 8th grade? Thank you, John, for providing that link. Can you get just students and not teachers? Absolutely. You're given, you could take up to the allocation for your eligible students and teachers, but it's up to you how many you decide to purchase. We're interested in the Apple MacBook option. Would these be the M1 devices? Again, I'm going to direct you straight to the device info that John has put in the chat. What I can answer is how quickly we can order and when are we expecting the devices. The contract has just begun negotiations. As you know, we just made the announcement of the awards on Wednesday. And so as soon as those contracts are executed, district eligible units will begin being able to order once they've opted in, obviously, to the program. And then depending on what that date is and what's negotiated in the contract is when you'll be able to expect the devices. So will DOE support JAMP beyond the first 3 years as part of the software allocation? Again, the software allocation component hasn't been designed as of yet. It will be something that will be released as part 2 of the, or phase 2 of the implementation of MLTI 2.0. So at this point, I don't have any information around specifics that the allocation would support. The MacBook proposal included a 3-year AppleCare warranty. Can we add a 4th year, or is it the same problem with device specs being locked in at the time of the bid and the award? Absolutely. So if you were to, yes, if you have to purchase the device off the menu as it is. If you negotiate something to extend that warranty after you've purchased it, then I think there's allowances for what the vendor wants to provide, so an additional year, but it can't be purchased, it can't be negotiated and purchased in that original purchase because the purchase is for a 3-year warranty. Will we be able to purchase additional devices if our enrollment in the fall is above the 2% buffer? Yes, so we are working out right now a process. We understand it would not be forever, but due to the extenuating circumstances of this pandemic year in particular, where the enrollment numbers have been unusually varied, we've been trying to accommodate that in any way we can. As you should know, we used both the October and April enrollment numbers and gave you the larger enrollment number of those two. And then we also are working on what we can provide to help cover if there is an influx of significant number of students, for instance, who maybe went to a homeschool option during this pandemic year, but are coming back, and so wouldn't be reflected in those enrollment numbers. So there'll be more details about that, and until we really know what those numbers are, we may not have an exact answer for you, but we are trying to figure out to ensure that all of your 7th and 8th graders next year have a device. In year 2, will the additional grades be subsidized? Yes, we'll continue to provide an allocation. So the additional devices for the additional grade will get the same thing of the same allocation for the number of eligible students in that grade. Can we purchase more grades and finance, except this year's allocation for 7th and 8th, and have the vendor bill you in year 2 for whatever grades will be allowed in year 2? No, so we can't. The allocation is budgeted per year, and so it needs to be spent in that year. So it's not the financing that you can figure out with the vendor, to be very clear, is between you and your local share with the vendor. You cannot finance the state's share. The state is providing a set amount that will be paid immediately once we are invoiced. And then again, the next year for a new device, that share will go and be paid on the state side. Any negotiated financing is between the vendor and the local eligible unit. Has a repair process been established for in warranty and out of warranty? So once we contract with the vendors, they will be providing webinars in order to work with and discuss with districts what they're offering and what the process will be as far as covering the warranties in those, and it will be dealing directly with those vendors. Will these devices be the same in year 2, or will there be a new RFP? So this RFP is good for 3 years. So that's why everything is 3 years. So after the second year, which is next year, we'll release another RFP. And this was intentionally done so that we can, one of the important pieces you may have heard with MLTI 2.0 is building in systems for continuous improvement and review of the program so that we don't get locked into something that is working for some but not others when we could have adjusted it. And so that's part of this 3-year window, is that by the end of that 3rd year, we will have an updated device menu, and we will open up the RFP, and that will give opportunities that if we learned things from these devices and what was offered that we need to be more specific about perhaps during the RFP or additional pieces. And as you all know, I don't have to tell the population on this session that technology is changing so quickly. We didn't want to lock us or the schools into those devices for too long. So that will be the process. But in year 2, yes, this menu will stay the same, and same with year 3. Will year 2 Chromebooks still have the full op, or will they be a year less? I'm going to bow to John or Emma, if you might know understand that question and maybe could help with that.
The acceptable use policy?
Is that what that is?
I'm wondering. Maybe Randy can confirm.
Auto
The auto
update.
update. There we go.
Does anybody on the review team know the answer to that? Remember, I'm not having it off the top of my head.
I'm not remembering off the top of my head either.
We'll take a look at that and get back to it and make sure that it's in the follow-up in the FAQ. Can we opt to purchase an edge case for the MacBook Air instead of getting the tread sleeve? Again, unfortunately, this is where the procurement laws lock us in to the bid that's on that was received, and it was for the sleeve, so that we can't add any additional products or swap out products. I need devices in more grades than 7, 8 because I waited a few years for the new MLTI. Now I have to purchase more than grades 7 and 8. I know I could take advantage of MLTI allocations for only 7th and 8th grade this year. I want to be able to take advantage of the allocations for year 2 for devices I need now. How can I do that? I'd basically like to pre-lease at year 1 district expense so the grades get what they need next fall, but be able to accept the allocation to help with that lease in year 2. I can get the vendor to bill you directly in year 2. So I understand this and have worked really hard to try to figure out a way. Unfortunately, again, our rules dictate and process that this money is for the devices that are bought this year, that next year an additional grade can be purchased, and the following year, and the commitment of the program is to continue doing that as we go along, with the idea that then you would be on a schedule. We completely understand and have had conversations and appreciate them from all of you, or for many of you in this situation, and have tried to figure out how we could make that work, but it cannot be. So if you choose to order and purchase devices this year, all of those devices, the state will provide an allocation for the 7th and 8th grade devices, but those future devices, they would not be able to be paid or reimbursed retroactively. thank you. I think Scott, you found some information for everybody, sharing about the Chromebooks that they're good until June of 2026. After June of 2026, managed devices with either Chrome Education Upgrade or Chrome Enterprise Upgrade will continue to receive security and management updates and support, but no new feature updates until June of 2027. And then I think we're moving into conversation here about that. What are the benefits of MLTI for purchasing more grades through the state contract? Or should we just negotiate directly with vendors for grades other than 7th and 8th grade? That's really up to you. We have, these devices are what was bid and the best device and process. If you purchase off of the menu for additional devices, that's 100% sort of your choice. By opting in for 7th and 8th grade, and you're participating in MLTI and have all of the pieces that are attached to all the other components of MLTI and support. So if you have the capacity and the desire to negotiate directly with vendors for additional grades for different devices or changes in that contract, that is certainly up to you. But you're certainly allowed to and can purchase off of that menu for the package that the vendor bid on, the state. Will allocations be for grades 9 through 12 in the future? So the way the allocation will work is that you'll be able to build out a grade level each year. And so we have 7th and 8th grade this year. Next year, you may choose to add 9th grade, or you may choose to add 6th grade, or if you're moving the devices with them, so your 7th graders became 8th graders, your 8th graders became 9th graders, you may want to choose 7th grade again, so that you're having 3 grades. But those 3, they'll be consecutive grades, and then the following year will be the next year. So you can expand to 10th grade or 5th grade, or if you went in the following model, it would be again backfilling the 6th grade. When the state gets further into software, please consider Google Workspace Enterprise funded at the state level instead of locally. Yeah, we will absolutely be looking for folks from the field, stakeholders, to participate as we develop what that software allocation, what that software component is going to be for MLTI. So please, stay tuned and be looking for that, because we value very much the experiences and voices of you all, and so we'll be looking to that. Can COVID federal funds be used? I'm assuming this means toward the local share of devices, and I guess I will have to look and confirm that, but it seems, from my knowledge, and I'm not an expert on the federal funds and haven't stayed up to date on all of the hundreds and hundreds of pages of those regulations, it seems like it would be, but we'll get back to you and make sure put that in the FAQ to determine for sure. So confirming a school district that doesn't have 7th and 8th grade is eligible for devices in year 2 and 3. So the way this is sort of a little bit complicated, or can be, and I'll try and explain it simply. And we will figure out as we work towards year 2 how to make it as clear and streamlined as possible. So the issue with, if you don't have, if you're a feeder into 7th and 8th grade, so you're a K-8 or some model that doesn't go up to 7th grade, or you are a standalone high school, or maybe not standalone, but you take students from other districts around, and you want to move to either 9th grade, or you want to enroll in year 2 with a 6th grade. The process, and again, this is all in year 2, and so the details of this process will be rolled out this year, but it will require that the 7th and 8th grade you are sending your 6th graders go to have participated in the program and want to move down to 6th grade for that extra year, for their year. If the 7th and 8th grade that you send, that your 6th grade sends to, is choosing to go to 9th grade, for instance, in the district, that's going to be something that needs to be coordinated and collaborated with the district. If you're going again to a high school that is separate, so it's not all your 7th and 8th graders going into your high school and that's it. If you're a high school that has surrounding schools or school choice, for instance, and so say 3 8th grade classes, schools from different districts are coming into your high school, then you'll have to have agreement that 9th grade is what those middle schools want to expand to, and that is the choice that's being made. So, like I say, it gets a little complicated, but there has to be agreement so that those grades are consistently being followed and moved through. Will the Chromebooks be added to our local Google admin console? Again, I'm going to defer to the team. Thank you, John.
Did we conclude the question and answer session? I just got back to my desk and it's silent. I was.
There you go, John. You beat me to it. We were waiting for you, Chris, to
Oh yeah, right.
to wrap us up. We've got 1 minute left for any burning questions.
Oh no.
Oh.
Thank you. I think you guys did a great job with the frequently asked questions document, and the question and answer sessions are very helpful. So appreciate all the work you put into this.
Great. Well, thank you all. And like I said, certainly many of you have been on this journey with us, and we really appreciate that. And we're working hard to be responsive and keep up with your questions. So we're keeping that FAQ up to date, but also I'm happy, as is anyone on my team, to receive direct questions from you. But we're trying to just keep it all out there. This will also be posted. So if people are asking you questions and you want to direct them, there's the video they can watch or the FAQ. And thank you all for spending your hour with us.